can comment too. So. All right, 239 Live. Wow, this is it. Everybody's wondering what's 239 Live, and we're trying to figure it out ourselves, but it's going to be a great time. We're going to be doing a lot of things. Basically, what we want to do in 239 Live is we want to get information out to the community, whether it be a nonprofit, whether it be businesses, activities, everything in Southwest Florida and beyond. And we're going to bring on tons of guests. We've got a bunch of them today. I've got a whole crew of people that are ready to get this thing going. Talked to Pat Dearborn yesterday. Talked to a whole bunch of people that are just ready to rock and roll when it comes to this. Hey, I see Robert. Robert's in. Good to see Robert. Gave us a little let's roll. Relentless Hopes there. Way to go. Got them up there. What I want to do is I want to talk just a little bit about what we're going to bring to the table here at 239. And this is going to be a fun project. So the first couple days might be a little bit tough to get through the equipment, but it's going to be a great time. Listen, if you have a nonprofit, you have a business, you have something that you want to bring to the Southwest Florida community, make sure you just let us know. We're going to make sure it happens for you here on our station. A big proponent and a big person who's been very active in getting the studio up and running, and we're going to just basically be like this for a few sessions. But we have the one and only Blake Becker. Blake, I just want to make sure you're there. Are you there, buddy?
Hey, I'm live. Check it out.
Yeah.
Man, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be on. Thank you so much, 239 Live. What an honor to be on the first show, but, it's just something I had to do. Naples is my home. It's our community. It's where we all help each other and where we all work and where we all really want to thrive. And so when you asked me to be on, I 100% said, yes, let's do this. I'm looking forward to a local live news broadcast all about Naples. And I'm just grateful to be here. Let me thank you.
Well, it's good having you, Blake, and you are a big supporter of things that go on here in Collier County. I know you have your own podcast. Tell us what that podcast is.
All right. Well, we have Built by Becker, which is something I started at the beginning of the year, a little bit before the beginning of the year, but, wanted to get something going that could basically help highlight other businesses that are doing the same type of thing in our community. For me, it is super important to raise all businesses up locally, not just my own. And I thought, what a way to do that with a podcast, to bring on people who I either have worked with or want to work with or know that are doing phenomenal work in our community, whether they be developers, real estate agents, attorneys, doctors, fitness people, podcast, basically anybody in our community that is doing business and doing business in a way that I feel is a benefit to the community. We want to get them on the show. We want to highlight them. We want to, do some fun clips and help support their business. And, the benefit of that is they're also in my podcast and in your studio. So when they think construction or when they think podcast or studio, they'll be thinking about us. So it should be a win-win for everybody. And, I was with Pat Dearborn yesterday at a showing, and he mentioned that just from watching our show, he had learned a few things that he didn't know. And this is somebody who's in the middle of our community. And so it made me feel good that what we're doing is helping educate and share a lot of good things that are going on here, right here in Naples, Florida.
Yeah, and what we want to do really is we really want to bring some fun to it, some levity, get people in, tell us about what's going on. And one of the things we do here at 239, and it's Studio 239, we offer the opportunity for businesses to come into the studio, run podcasts, also local politicians, people in the community. And our heart really is into getting information out. So we want to have some fun, though. We don't want to be too serious. We have a little series where we go through and throw up some fun stories that we have over the weekend. And to be quite honest with you, Florida is a pretty crazy place. So you don't really have to look that hard, Blake, to find out what's going on crazy here in Southwest Florida.
Yeah, no, I thought this was going to be a difficult task, and I think just over the weekend we saw at least 12 insane stories that we could easily talk about right here in Florida. How blessed are we to have, such wonderful characters in our community or outside of our community that are doing some great things, right? Some things that we can talk about.
Yeah, without a doubt. So give me a little rundown. Did you have anything exciting? Today is President's Day. We can't forget that. We've got a whole little special thing about whether or not Donald Trump should be on Mount Rushmore, but we'll get to that in just a little bit. We have Relentless Hope coming up at 9, because we're going to try to run this about from 8 a.m. to just about 9, 9:30, 9:45, usually into 10. So, and also, if you want to make a comment, anything you want to put up there, I see Robert's got some stuff going on. A little bit tough to see his comment, but I'm going to try to scoot that down. There we go. Robert Blake, thanks for jumping on, buddy. Robert Burke, I should say. But we've got a lot of really good opportunities for people to come on and get their voice heard. And another thing we want to do is we want to start doing fundraising events virtual. So that's another big component that we want to add into what we have here in Southwest Florida on 239 Live.
Oh, I love that. It's a great idea.
Yeah, so a little bit about this weekend. Beautiful weather. Did you notice a lot of people out and about? I know I did. I went out a couple times to eat, and the lines were long, but we're very happy that people are here spending their money in Southwest Florida.
It was Valentine's Day, so did you do anything special for your lady?
I did. We went to Brick Tops on Friday evening, and it was a great night. That's a never fail there. That's always good food at Brick Tops. I know you're pretty interested in getting out. You're a chef yourself, but getting out into the community and going to different restaurants and possibly bringing them on and kind of getting around and finding out what's the best place to eat, because a lot of people really like that.
I think they do, and I think it'd be a great thing to have like maybe once a week or once every other week, a highlight where we hit 3 or 4 restaurants in a month and then come on and share about what we found, and maybe even let them come on and talk about their restaurant, maybe what specials they have going on. And especially when we get to May, it's right now, as you said, it's super busy, tons of people eating, the restaurants are packed, and there's not a problem, right? But from May to October, we still need to feed the people who work in these restaurants, who own these restaurants, who serve in these restaurants, and who supply these restaurants. So I thought maybe we could try to, spawn something up to get some excitement going about local restaurants, and maybe try to fill those seats when the slower months set in.
Yeah, it's always a good thing to have that opportunity to get out, go out and just talk a little bit to the community, to the restaurant owners, and ask them about what's going on, because we know here in Florida, especially in Naples, it's pretty tough off season. So we really want to, if we could bring and highlight a restaurant to help them out during the in season, that's going to be a key for everybody. And
yeah,
if we can help them out, that's what we're all about.
Yeah, we want to support local. We want to take care of our community. We want to make sure that we all thrive. We all thrive at 239 Live. That could be a slogan there, Tim.
We all thrive at 239 Live. Yeah, a couple little things that I noticed out this weekend. The people, as they always are in our community, are very nice and very understanding, and they really enjoy, I should say, the ambiance of Naples. Had the chance to get down to Fifth Ave, walk around waterside shops, and people really truly enjoy the opportunity just to be here in Naples. Do you see that most people are happy with Naples? Do you think it's getting too crowded? I personally, working at the sheriff's office for as long as I did, I know in season it was a busy time of the year, but I like it when people are here. I like it when people are spending their money, enjoying themselves, and just truly taking in the moment and the beauty of Naples.
Well, I'm not a true local, so I moved here when I was 15 years old, but I have been here for a good portion of my life and have noticed the changes in the growth that we've seen in Collier County since '97 when I came into town. And of course, the traffic and, being at the light two or three times this time of year, it's something that we have to deal with. I mean, like I said, I can't speak as a local because I wasn't a local, and I don't know what the intention was back in the days when Naples was created. But this is a tourist town, and we thrive off of tourism. We thrive off of those people being here, buying homes, buying food in restaurants, shopping in our stores, going to our beaches. That's how we thrive as a community. And I know that's how we make our money as a community and as businesses who serve that community. There's so many service businesses. There's so many hospitality businesses that thrive off of that. So it's a double-edged sword. It's busy, it's hectic, it's tiring, it's traffic, but at the same time, 80% of our bills are paid between October and May. So we have to kind of just accept it. Now, can the city grow more or grow bigger? That would be a topic of discussion to maybe have some county commissioners on and find out what the growth plans are for the next 10 years and what we're going to do to accommodate those kind of changes.
Yeah, that's a good thing that you brought that up. I just had a great podcast with Commissioner Dan Colwell, and Dan, I think, is correct. I think overall, Collier County's done a very good job with the infrastructure here. And I know some people are going to disagree, right? Because
Of course,
they can't get
comments
someplace
right now.
Yeah, at Pine Ridge. Yeah, put the comments in there if you disagree. But at Pine Ridge and Airport, okay, that's a busy intersection. No matter how you cut it, that's busy off season. So definitely during in season, it's going to be busy. But off season is busy too. So it's basically like taking 50 pounds of shit in a 10-pound bag. And I hate to use that comment, but the reality is the infrastructure. I think the county does a darn good job at trying to make it work. I mean, if you think about it, every road that I know of, Immokalee Road's jammed, Vanderbilt's jammed, Airport's jammed, 41's jammed. They've got those roads built out pretty much to their maximum widths. So drainage, the infrastructure that goes into putting those roads and keeping them passable and keeping them good is a big thing. So people are pretty much always going to complain about traffic. I think it's a thing that goes around everywhere in the country. But here in Collier County, I think we have the money, the budgets, and I think it's, for the most part, spent wisely to be able to enhance and build our roads. And I think we spend the money pretty well to do that. The only problem is like anything else, it takes a while to get a road built. So people do get frustrated.
But you also need quality leadership, because you can have all the money in the world without the proper leadership doing the right steps to keep things, number one, the way that we like them. Of course, we're locals here, we all live here. So we want Fifth Avenue to be a certain way. We want our beaches to be a certain way. We don't want people coming in and destroying what we have. What we have is, we're voted one of the number one cities in the country. So we don't want to ruin that. So you have to have the proper leadership in there to make sure that we ensure that we keep Naples, keep it nice, right? And then we grow in a way that's going to continue to make sure that our mission of Naples, being that smaller, type community where it still feels like, a small community, but yet has all the amenities of, I think there's upwards of 500,000 people here during season, or even more now. So, we have to be able to do both, remain a small town feel, remain nice, but also be able to handle the influx of people who come in. And that really stems from leadership. So we want to thank our leaders who are doing a good job of that, and the community that votes them in.
Yeah, without a doubt, without that infrastructure. And the thing is, it's taxing on law enforcement, it's taxing on fire, it's taxing on EMS. Another thing people forget too is the hospitals in general. I mean, I know for a fact that people have gone to the hospital and like, hey, listen, they stacked us up in the emergency room like wood. So it's definitely taxing, and to get people to live in Collier County is one thing, and to get people to work here is difficult because you go to Lee County, for instance, it's cheaper to live up there for the most part, and the pay is not as competitive as it is down here in Collier County. And you know, as a business owner, it's tough to find quality, solid people that really want to, you know, come down here and work, or and it's not even really a matter of want, of able to afford. I mean, when you got a guy that's working for you, Blake, and making 25 $25 an hour, he's got kids and wife, and they're trying to, you know, get an apartment that costs $3,500 a month for a 2 or 3 bedroom. That's hard to swallow because
It is
90% of their paycheck is going to, you know, living.
housing, right? Yeah, no,
Yeah, so
affordable housing is important. You know, and making sure that there's enough of that and there's enough support for the people who really provide all the services that are here in Collier County that are going to be needed to support, you know, the trash pickup and the hospitality and the cleaning services and the air conditioning and the, you know, electric. I mean, all the things that it takes to support a community like this, food services, and you know, there's just so many types of businesses that need quality people, but they also have to have a housing structure that can accommodate both the wealthy who love to come here and buy and build beautiful homes, but also the people who help serve them. So there's got to be a good balance of both.
and the reality is, I do know a lot of folks that are in law enforcement, and their numbers are low right now. I mean, they've got recruiting difficulties. They do a great job. Sheriff Ramboss is great. Chief Bloom, Rich Hampton. I going through all my friends there, but to get people, quality people, to come to Collier County and jump in and, you know, do the things we need them to do, it's a challenge. So I think we're always looking. I know the county commission has got some things in place to get some affordable housing. And, you know, like anything else, people are saying, well, I don't want that in my backyard. But the reality is, it's the men and women that teach our kids, that put out our fires, that protect us each and every day, hospital workers, so on and so forth. So keeping that infrastructure and understanding the importance of making sure that infrastructure stays solid is very important. Now, I don't even know what the breaking or the tipping point is. I mean, what could that be? I mean, you know, in business, Blake, and maybe you can fill me in. Is it difficult for you to get employees on any given day if you really needed them?
You know, it's funny. For some reason, and I'm a firm believer in God, so God always provides when it's needed. You know, my experience is when I need them, they've always been available. You know, but it is difficult in the construction industry and probably a lot of other industries to keep people because of, you know, the cost of living, the cost of everything, the cost of goods right now. I mean, the price of eggs, the price of gas. I mean, all these things, they affect, you know, whether that starts at the bottom or the top. I'm not sure where that scale starts, but the cost of things, you know, the inflation that's going on in the country, the things that are going on, they affect everything. They affect my prices, they affect my employees, they affect my clients, they affect my home, you know, personally. So, you know, like all those things tie into it, you know, and so how we we have to navigate through that. You know, I've learned to do what I can to keep the best employees that I have. I've learned that through my business practices. And, you know, I know that even my subcontractors, my good vendors, I do what I can to keep them around as well, because good people are hard to come by and trustworthy. And, you know, especially in a service business, I'm working in people's homes. So they want to know that the people we're bringing in are good, solid, quality people. So, yeah, it's definitely a challenge trying to find people that are good and trustworthy. But once you find them, you got to work hard to keep them.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think for example, and I know law enforcement very well just because I've been here. You will get people that will move into the community, and then if you can keep them for 4 or 5 years, then I think they're in a good spot. The problem is getting them to to the sheriff's offices, to the fire departments, to the schools. Once you get them there, and once they get settled in and they start to navigate and understand, where they can live, where they can't live, I think that's a true testing time, I should say. And most people with good intentions. I know a lot of people right now are like, I'm out. I'm out. Naples is getting big. I'm going to go to Tennessee. I like it better up there because
I'm hearing that. I'm
yeah,
hearing a lot of people moving.
yeah, people want the old Naples back again, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's not going to be there. But I also like things to do. I like things to go out to, things to, the beach is great, but let's have places where we can go eat, where we can go dine, dance, things like that. I mean, I'm 57 years old. You should see me dance. I can burn a rug. But no,
That's
it's
right.
yeah. Compare Naples, and we're going to go on to a couple stories here in just a minute. But compare Naples to what it was. Um, and you moved here when, Blake, again?
97.
So yeah, so you've been here a long time. I mean, I would consider you, you're in. I've been here for 34 years. Moved here in 1990. Please, in the comments, tell me real quick what year you moved here into Naples and what it was like. I remember Immokalee Road up by Arthrex was just a field where you pick strawberries, uh, all that stuff. And look at it now. I mean, Arthrex is a huge company um, occupying that land, but things have changed so much.
Oh, they really have. I mean, like I said, in 97, 98, when I was first learning to drive and get around, anything past 951 was two lanes. And if you went out past white too far, you got to gravel roads. And, things were a lot different. There wasn't a lot of homes out there. The estates, there was definitely homes, but they were not as, I mean, they're stacked in there like cordwood now. So, and then of course it just goes out east as far as almost touching Fort Lauderdale, it feels like. But yeah, definitely has changed tremendously. I mean, I remember, when they rebuilt the Marco Bridge, and there's been a lot of growth here and a lot of changes, and I remember when there was just NCH. We didn't even have the physicians regional, so to see the community grow and add the infrastructure, like you said, the hospitals, the additional police and fire and EMT and schools. Man, there was three schools there was three high schools when I moved here. I don't even know how many there are now. There's a
Yeah, you
lot.
had Naples, Lily, Barron, and then
That
obviously
was it.
Immokalee,
Yeah,
east
oh, yeah,
out here.
Mockley.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's changed, and then now we have Aubrey Rogers. We had Gulf Coast, Golden Gate High School that was built. Then our private schools are with community school. So it's such a different look. What do you think? In you being in the building industry, what do you think Collier County is going to look like in 2000? Let's go 2050, 25 years from now. Because I remember when people were saying, Collier County, what it's going to be like in 2025. Well, guess what? It's here.
Well, I'm a little bit of a city guy. I mean, I like cities. I like I like little like combination cities, some that are like still have small town feel, but then have some of like the cool features of a city. And what I would like to see, like that new building that they're building right there at the corner of Davis and 41. It's a pretty tall, high rise, residential, commercial space, apartment living, etc. I would like to see that area of Davis, like behind that, become a little downtown with some like high rises and, like some actual city features that kind of, went up maybe 30, 40 stories so that you could see the bay from that area. You could
So
see.
people are ready to get you right now, but
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. As a builder, as a local person, I think that'd be a cool look. And, there's a lot of older, shops down there, a lot of older, smaller boat dealerships and car dealerships. And I think like, sprinkled in between there, you could have some downtown high rise type buildings that could add a lot more residents here and could add a lot more service opportunities, and it would be a cool look, for the town. Now, I don't know if that's what they're doing. I think they're calling that like the Naples metropolitan area down there, and I think there's some ideas around that. How far that's going to go, we'll see. I know they're building some new high rises on the beach where the last few hurricanes have come in and done some damage and caused the older buildings to get knocked down. So I feel like we're going to see a lot of that coming up, and even some of the older buildings. I'm not sure how long that they're going to, stand the hurricanes and the weather and the stuff that's going on. I think we might see some changes in that look as well. And then, naturally, since I've been coming here, tearing down 5 to 10,000 square foot houses in Park Shore and Port Royal is a daily routine. So I think you're going to see a lot more of that. You're going to see the keeping up with the Joneses and tearing down and building bigger. That seems to be the theme around there. And then of course we're still got land to go out east. You're seeing a lot of building going out east.
Yeah, I know that's real big. Changing gears a little bit. Growth in Collier County, housing in Collier County, Gulf of America. Now,
That's right.
Let's change gears a little bit. How excited? And again, I'm going to get political on here. I'm a strong conservative. How excited are you about the current situation we have with our president? Who can keep up with that guy?
Man, well, hats off to Mr. Trump, President Trump, 47th president, and happy President's Day, not only to Trump, but to all the presidents who have served this great country, our great nation. It takes a lot. I can only imagine what it would take to sit in that chair for 4 years. I'm sure it is has its rewards, and I'm sure it has its many challenges. And so my hat is off to everyone who has served this great nation, all the way from our very first president and all the way to right now with our 47th president, President Trump. He is like a bull in a china shop right now. He is definitely shaking things up. He is not holding back anything, and I believe that the majority of people who voted for him are happy with what he's doing, because he ran on these policies. He ran on getting things done. He ran on shaking things up and kind of cleaning up some of this mess that has been going on for the last 50 years. And I think what he's doing is going to be good. I'm excited to see what RFK can do when it comes to pharmaceuticals, when it comes to our food. Hearing like what they do in Europe, and they don't put these things that we're allowed to have in our foods for our children in their food in Europe. And why are we why are we having to take that kind of, beating on the chemicals and the GFOs and all this modified? And, I want my daughter to be able to eat the best food possible, to not have to deal with as many cancers or issues or, all the stuff that's going on in these vaccines or I would just like to see the facts, to actually see the facts of what these pharmaceutical companies are putting in some of these things and what the actual side effects are of some of these things. There's just been a lot of unfortunate, I believe, abuse and mistreatment of our medical and our food industry that we really need some clarification on as Americans as we push forward and try to take off. And I know capitalism and money is a big driving point behind that, but I think there's an area where we can have both. We can all profit and make money, but we can keep our children and our families and our food and our medicine, on the right track.
Yeah, without a doubt, I think I spend a lot more time trying to pay attention to, what I eat. I get concerns, we're seeing high cancer rates. We're seeing kids that are acting out a little bit different. And again, I don't want to try to contribute that to what we're eating, but there's a lot of change in Americans' health that really does not seem to be good. And things that are acceptable here are not acceptable in Europe. That's definitely got me intrigued, and I think it's something we really need to take a deep dive in and find out really what's going on. I know there's a huge increase we're seeing in autism. I'd like to see some studies to try to figure out exactly why that's occurring. I know if you walk around in different countries, you'll see people that are a little bit heavier, but nothing compared to me in the United States. So one of the things that I think we really need to concentrate on is, you know, breaking down and finding out, you know, you are what you eat, right? So find out what's in each and every item that we do eat. And I find myself all the time eating quick, fast, unhealthy foods. So, you know, I'm not definitely here to try to preach to anybody about it, but I think the awareness JFK is going to bring to it, and somebody that's just out of the box thinking
RFK.
is going to be, yeah, JFK, yeah, no, RFK. Yeah,
If
sorry about
JFK
that.
starts bringing back stuff, we're gonna be
We're in big
surprise.
trouble. Yeah,
Big surprise.
yeah, RFK. But the the things that he brings up, I think, creates a environment where people start thinking about it, because the reality is we're always going to do what we've always done and continue to do what we always do unless we have a massive change. And that's exactly what we're seeing with pretty much everybody in the Trump cabinet. I mean, people are shaking up, and I tell you right now, it's kind of humorous to watch because people are getting extremely nervous. Their secure, safe cheese, if you ever read the book Who Moved the Cheese, is getting moved really quick, and people are really getting shooken up, and I think it needs to happen. I can't imagine anybody else better to do it than Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot that goes into this, and I don't think you and I are probably educated as much as those who are in charge of these things. But when you have to feed the masses, I understand that there's a process in which you have to keep food safe, and you have to have certain things in it for shipping and preserving, and these are things above my pay grade as a contractor. But I assume there has to be a way we can have both. So if anything gets done in this administration, if it just makes people look a little deeper into what they're doing, possibly change a few things that would make the big companies, because they're still going to be there, make them work a little harder to provide a better quality food. That to me, I think, will be the big change that I would like to see, and that the country needs is we've let these bigger companies get away with using these things, whether it's from lobbyists or from people we voted in. I mean, and that's across the board on both sides. It's these large conglomerates, these bigger corporations are kind of getting to do what they want. So if we can dive into those areas and just peel back some of the things they're doing incorrectly or could be done better. Look at other nations, and like I said, the Europe doesn't really do a lot of this stuff to their food. I think some of even the Middle Eastern countries, Dubai and stuff, these countries have, no taxes, and they're able to provide good food and quality infrastructure for their communities. So I think there's some things that we could look at worldwide, and then in our own nation, and kind of peel back. So if that's the only thing that gets done, is that we uncover some stuff that's not, as perfect as it should be. I mean, we're Americans. We deserve to have the best food, the best medicine, the best country, the best education, and we've lacked in those areas over the past, 50 years. I think we've kind of fallen. And I think if this administration can just peel open some of that and make aware some changes that need to be done for the future of our children, for the future of our country, and the betterment of the world. I know that we can be a great help to the whole entire world, but it starts here. We've got to fix the problems right here.
Yeah, absolutely. And the big thing is it makes you think about it, right? If nothing else, I can tell you over the last 2 or 3 months, I've really been thinking about, hey, these changes, how can I improve myself, or how can I improve my family? So it's real interesting. With that being said, let's I want to bring up something it's kind of going to be fun for us on the 239 live show. We want to bring in and highlight different stories in Southwest Florida that kind of make us laugh, kind of make us think and sometimes maybe make us upset and cry a little bit. But what I want to do is we're going to have a little segment where we have stories that we see quite frequently on the news, but here in Southwest Florida, and we're going to just talk about him. And I think today is a very important day because obviously you have President's Day, and I found this picture of Donald Trump to celebrate President's Day. What better day and what better picture could we put on there? I don't really know. It's a good one.
He looks a little younger, a lot thinner, and more like a superhero.
Yeah, he's
Uh,
superhero-ish.
I did see him at the NASCAR race yesterday with his granddaughter and driving around the track in the Beast. What a fun day! What a great way to celebrate the kickoff of NASCAR. I'm not a huge NASCAR fan, but any president that's boots on the ground, involved in what the people are doing and what is really supporting his base. It was cool. It was cool to see Air Force One flying over and then him driving around, and he's definitely the people's champ, right? He's definitely the president of the people, and I know there's people out there that don't like him, and I know there's people there that love him, and there's all the others in between. There's crazies on each side of liking him and not liking him. So just grateful that there's a good energy, and I think he mentioned that yesterday. There's a good energy behind there's a good spirit, I believe is what he said, behind our country right now, and only in a short period of time we've kind of felt a new wind blow in. So, like I said earlier, thank you to President Trump and to every other president that served on this day that we celebrate all presidents.
Yeah, extremely important day. I think it's very special, especially today with Donald Trump, our new president. We've had a tough 4 years, and again, I don't want to. I appreciate every president that's in there. I think there's a time and a place, and I think we kind of got a little bit of the short side of the stick. And I personally think that Joe Biden probably knew himself that he wasn't really up for the task for the last 4 years. But with that being said, President of the United States, definitely respect for that position. And just watching Donald Trump and watching what's going on in the country right now, I don't know about you, but when I get home at night, I can't usually get to sleep till about 1 in the morning because I'm a little bit pumped up about everything that I see. So it's pretty interesting. With that being said, what's your thought on this? What's your thought on
Ooh,
this?
should President Donald Trump be placed on Mount Rushmore? Well, I guess time will tell. I think we would have to see how the next 3 years and 11 months go. Um, and I think there would definitely have to be something that would be voted on by the country. Um, I think he's definitely making waves, and I think his heart and his intentions are in the right place. You know, um, those are four great presidents up there, that did monumental things, right, for our country. So if what he's doing right now turns out to be monumental, maybe his face will adorn that rock, one day.
Yeah, without a doubt. You got George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, Abraham Lincoln, and
Yeah.
then you're going to be putting up Donald Trump. Now, let me ask you this question, Blake. Do you think Donald Trump would be better with the Make America Great Again hat or without a hat? What's your thought? How would you carve his hair? I mean, that might
I
be a
think
little
you have to have
interesting.
the hair. I mean, this is world famous Donald Trump hair. You got to have the hair on there
And did you?
somehow.
I've been noticing Donald Trump hair. It's not quite as orange. Well, he's orange, but he's kind of doing something a little bit different. I think he's kind of letting it go.
I
Kind of
think
like
he's
Tim
working
Dredd look.
20 hours,
Just let it get
20 hours
gray.
a day, and he doesn't have time to mess with his hair. I think what that is. He's been working hard.
Just a little bit. I agree with you. I think that the reality is we probably need to wait. The 3.5 years, and see how it goes. I wonder how that's actually handled. Is it a vote for Mount Rushmore? Who gets a say in that? I mean,
I'm not sure. I'm sure I'm sure somewhere there's a committee. And I'm sure we could ask that question, or
yeah.
someone
If
could leave
anybody knows
a comment,
that, please put that in the
find
comments.
out
Yeah,
exactly who makes that decision. If we add, if there's even the ability to add, if we own enough land there to do that. I'm not sure how all that works, but I think these men that are on there were legacy guys, and I think their faces were put up there after a period of time had gone by after their presidency, where you could see what these guys did truly made a difference in the outcome of our country and the trajectory of our country. So,
How about
I
Ronald
think
Reagan?
time
Should
will
Ronald
tell.
Reagan be up on here?
Reagan was a good president. I don't know. Well, he did help out, a lot for, world peace and a lot of things. But I don't know if it was as monumental as what these other gentlemen have done, and possibly what Trump is going to do. I guess I said time will tell.
Well, and I'm sure, obviously, if you go on the left side, you're going to want that argument, right? You're going to say, well, what about Obama? What
Obama,
about Bill Clinton? What
what
about
Obama say something.
what about Monica
It
Lewinsky?
just
I mean, how's she going to go up there?
deserves a vote. That's why I said I would like to know, like, who's in charge of that
Yeah,
committee, and
please add that comment in there. If anybody knows what how that's supposed to be handled, please let us know. Now, there's some pretty interesting stories out there of what we got going on here in the state. So let's just kind of take a look. Now, this is an interesting one. Now, this girl, her name is, if you could say that, I'll give you like $5. But it's Catalina Turner. she's 22 years old. She goes into 7-Eleven, and this was up in northern Florida a little bit. And she goes into 7-Eleven, and she just so happened to get a little bit mad and nail and fight with the lady behind the counter, throwing bananas at her. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Blake?
think that's bananas.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and she actually got out on bond for a $1,000 bond. The reason why I put this up there, I think it's kind of funny, but people are in the state of Florida. I think we get a little bit a deserved bad rap, I would say, because in general, that bad rap here in Florida, it does happen. Florida always has some crazy stories, crazy things going on. These stories always tend to get a little bit out of control.
They do, and I'm sure that if you check the news in certain areas of LA or New York or Cleveland or Detroit, you're going to find some of the same crazy stories. But on a whole, we have definitely had some outlandish things happen in the news for Florida. So once we got that rap, it's I think the media outlets like to use that as a ploy to get views and likes and drive traction to the certain news outlets. So it's great. I mean, it's great entertainment, and I feel bad for whoever the clerk was who was assaulted by the bananas. But I mean, you couldn't ask for a funnier story. Someone assaulting somebody with a banana. I believe someone was assaulted with a nacho chip in Florida back in the day too. I remember that story. Somebody threw a chip at somebody, and that made the news. It was assault with a non-deadly weapon. I don't know
A chip.
what
You
they
know
would
what?
call that as a retired law enforcement guy.
And I think people in general, for the most part, are real frustrated, right? So they go through the line at Burger King, they go through the line at McDonald's, and the next thing you know, there's like a big melee because
Yeah.
they didn't get a straw, they get the wrong thing. I mean, when you get something that you didn't order when you go to McDonald's, do you go back in the store, or what do you do?
Well, I don't eat at McDonald's. Not saying I haven't eaten at McDonald's, but let's say
Well,
I was
sorry.
Chick-fil-A or something like that. I would. I try to check my order before I leave, and I calmly wait for them to fix it. I'm not a person that gets that worked up over food. I think Mr. Gyro would say differently, but he always likes to poke the bear. But I think bananas is something that you can use as a weapon these days and an assault, and it was proven here in this case. Like right now with the price of eggs, you definitely wouldn't be throwing eggs at somebody. You would.
Yeah, that's a good point. That gets
Right now you
expensive.
got to pick your food these days. Which one is cheap enough to assault? Because I'm taking eggs home. I'm not throwing eggs. We're not. People are not egging people's houses these days. I mean, if anything, they're bagging up 3 or 4 eggs and selling them on the street corner. The price of eggs right now is crazy.
Well, you being a chef, that's a good thing. And we got an egg story here in a minute. But you being a chef, tell me a little bit about. I never realized like what eggs are used for. I mean, there's like pretty much everything in your cooking.
Oh, I mean, it can be used for a batter to coat, let's say, you know, fried chicken. You can be used for, of course, the obvious breakfast, all the breakfast options. It's used for desserts and custards. It's used for, there's so many areas that eggs are used in. So it's a vital part of our food triangle, and it's definitely a vital part of our diets.
Hey Blake, let me ask you this: police officer, 32 years. Do you think I've ever thrown an egg during Halloween?
Ooh, you're a little bit of a bad boy. I know you're a good law enforcement officer. I'm gonna say that you have thrown an egg.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you. We had a guy that lived down the street, 3 or 4 houses down, but every Halloween it was so bad that he would literally put plywood on his windows because he was gonna take a beating. So it kind of took a little bit of the fun away from it, but yeah, we did throw a few eggs when we were young.
Yeah.
But now,
Well, I've thrown a few eggs before. You can't do that stuff anymore. It used to be able to be kind of harmless fun. You TP somebody's house, you throw a few eggs. It was kind of like a sign of endearment. Nowadays it's a felony.
yeah, you throw an egg on a car like you have, that nice ride you have, that BMW, and it causes paint damage. It could
Yeah,
be expensive.
yeah, it
Could
could
be
be.
expensive. Yeah, definitely something that you got to think about before you do it. So yeah, let's give it for her. Stripper, 22 years old, busted for banana battery at the 7-Eleven. And this story was from the Smoking Guns. So the Smoking Guns always got some good stories. And just so you know, at 9 o'clock we're gonna have the one and only David Cravins from Relentless Hope, and hopefully his beautiful wife will show up there too. I think he's going to be coming on here shortly, but right about 9 o'clock, we're going to get him on. He's out at a conference in Texas. He's going to talk all about that. So looking forward to. Always good to see David.
Excited to hear what he has to share.
Yeah, that's good. Now what do we got? It's talking about eggs. Talking about eggs. Listen, in Pennsylvania, this guy went in and he was victimized. And this guy had 8,333 dozen eggs that were stolen. Organic. Wow. Organic. That's crazy, right?
That's a lot of money worth of eggs.
Yeah, that's just a little bit of eggs. So I've heard this has been going on throughout the country. So, I don't know if there's enhanced charges now for the eggs, but it goes by the value of the eggs. So if they're $10 a dozen, obviously it doesn't take much to get you above that threshold for grand theft. So
Yeah, like
definitely
two cases of eggs is grand theft. I mean, the price of eggs these days. We gotta, so this has got to be something. This could be a life sentence right here with this many eggs.
Definitely something to consider though. And if you own an egg farm, please be careful because people are going to come in. Now, I did hear a lady talking that we are in pretty bad shape right now in the county. I think there was in the country. I think there was over. This is $40,000 worth of eggs. I think they've lost like over 1 million egg-laying hens out there throughout the country.
And do we know what the cause of that is? Is that the bird flu?
Yeah, it's a type of bird flu, but most of the people that are raising these hens, most of them that are raising these hens say that they don't think they can raise more hens because it's just getting hammered. So yeah, they're just getting hammered there. So I don't know. They said that they're trying to improve on it. Patrick, I don't believe I'll be able to get you in right now. I'll get you in a little bit because we're in the same room, so it probably is not going to come through. So yeah, a lot of people are telling me that the farmers, they're doing everything they can to try to knock this bird flu down, but it it can get in on people's clothes, it can get in by, from humans, so on and so forth. So yeah, it's a little bit scary actually if you think about it, because they're saying now that potentially it could go to humans. I don't know if that's true or not. Of course, I'm not a doctor, so I wouldn't know on that.
I have heard that too. I have heard that too.
Yeah. So another story. I always get a little frustrated and get a little bit mad when you have parents that are hard on their kids. I agree with discipline. Okay, I agree with discipline. This is a case, kind of a sad case up in St. Petersburg. This family actually duct taped their kid, and when they duct taped their kid, the report said that the kid tried to get up, and when he tried to get up, he was duct taped so tight that it fell forward and permanently disfigured him and damaged him, smashed on his face. One of the things I can tell you when I was in law enforcement, any type of victimization of kids was always a very difficult thing for me. I worked in the schools for a lot of years, and kids are sacred, and anybody who does things to kids that is above and beyond is definitely a difficult thing as a law enforcement officer to handle. Some parents have difficulties trying to figure out, what's the best way to discipline their kids. Yeah, you can discipline your kids, but you can't take it above in a situation like this.
Man, I could never ever imagine duct taping a child. I mean, this kind of stuff, when I read this kind of news, boils my blood. But I also know that hurt people, and there's issues that are deeper than some of us can comprehend or understand. I don't show a lot of compassion to that, but I do know it's beyond my pay grade when it comes to people's psyche. But man, as a father, I've never, had to even lay a hand on my daughter to where, usually just some stern words and some time out and some discipline has always seemed to take care of any issue that we have had. So hearing things like this, it's sickening, and that people out there would do that to a child, no matter what the issue is.
Yeah, working at the schools, I saw a lot of abuse, and again, please, for those of you out there listening, your kids need to be disciplined. I don't mean in any way that you can't discipline them. However, I've seen kids go to school where their hair was actually glued back on their head because their parents had pulled it out. I've seen kids that have been beat so bad with scarring from clothes hangers to the back, irons to the back. Those are types of things that really resonate with you. And as a law enforcement officer, I can tell you those things stick with me. And
yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah, so abuse for kids is something that
there's no place for
can't
it.
take any place for that.
Yeah.
So, but one of the things I wanted to talk about too when it comes to this is the penalties. When parents who abuse their kids, you got mother and father. When the kid has to come into reality, I guess, and both their mother and their father is either put in jail or they're going to be sentenced to prison. Who really loses on this one? Obviously, the kid does, right? And the only time that it really would come in is if you had a parent that, parents that
the only time
had good family.
Yes, the only time separation from the parent is a good thing is when there's just kind of, wrongdoing being done. And separation, and hopefully the child gets put into a place or to a loving home that he could be taken care of.
Yeah, very very important to make sure that we take care of our kids, and I know that in this case, hopefully that the kid will get the help they need, and the parents will figure out that that's definitely not the proper way to do it. One other thing that I do remember is a lot of times parents have, and it depends on what culture you come from, parents sometimes have a different threshold as to what discipline is, depending, where you grew up. And for instance, in the Haitian community, a lot of times the parents are pretty tough on their kids. And we would have to go out often and explain to them, like, listen, in the United States, you cannot do this. And I will tell you that those Haitian kids, great kids, they would either revolt against the parents, or they would be very well behaved. And that was always a thing that we spent a lot of time on, trying to educate different cultures as to what you can and what you can't do. And I will tell you, a lot of times is the way you grow up, how you were disciplined when you were a kid. Is that going to be how it's going to be for
Yeah, most
your
of these
kids?
things are learned behaviors. They're not something that you just pick up. They're generationally passed on.
Yeah. Another story. We got this. This is a local one. I kind of thought this was a little bit interesting. Now, again, all people in here are innocent and proven guilty. This is Kimberly McDonald. Don't know her. She happened to go to Target. She's 36 years old. She actually went into Target, I believe, and stole 151 items. 151
Over a
items.
period of time. If you read the article, she did it little bits at a time. They've been following this lady for months. She's I think they have those self checkouts now. So whether it was through the self checkout, or I'm not sure 100% how she was doing it, but I thought I saw this over the weekend. I read into it as well. I thought it was quite interesting, some of the things that she was stealing. I mean, from small items that were $4.25 all the way up to items that were $700 or even more, I believe. So, yeah, she's been at it for a while. Allegedly been at it for a while. So we'll see what the outcome is. But she definitely drew some red flags, and caused the people at Target to get involved with the law enforcement and a case to be made.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those situations where I think if you look at the story, let's go back to the story real quick. She actually stole a mattress, allegedly, right? We got to always use that word, allegedly. How do you get that out the door? Do you think, like, and I've seen a lot of people steal stuff. A lot of times they'll go in and they'll act like they paid for it and not even, bypass all places to pay for it.
Well, it could be. Have you seen those mattresses these days? They come vacuum sealed. They're tiny, right? And this is something that I've had experience with, because we bought a couch recently that was like in a 1 foot box by 3 foot box, little tiny thing. You open it up, and then you cut the plastic, and it like unpacks, and there you go. You have a mattress. So it could be that it was smaller than what we would think a traditional, king size mattress, carrying it out on your back. I think it could be there's different possibilities of how they package things. But yes, I mean, it'd be great. I mean, that would be one heck of a feat if she just walked out the door with a queen size mattress on her shoulders.
Yeah, all by herself, and
Right, because
it's kind of interesting.
I've moved before, and mattresses are one of the most difficult things. You got to move through the house.
Hey, honey, I'm going to run down to Target. I'll be right back. I'm going to go
Yep.
pick up a few things, mattress, all that stuff. But yeah, I'm always interested in people that go and steal and are kleptos, right? Believe it or not, we found people that when we made contact with them, they had hundreds of dollars in their pocket, but they just went in and stole stuff. I guess it's just because they can. And I will tell you that a lot of these people will take things saying, well, it's Target, it's Walmart, it's Home Depot. They're never going
A
to
lot
miss
of
it.
people,
That's
yeah.
just that's obviously issued and problematic with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have that mindset that that because these big companies, they can afford it, so it's okay to take. But I believe there is a mental illness. There's an issue with people that they get a high off of stealing, and once you do it once, and you do it again, and you do it again, and becomes something that it's addictive behavior.
Yeah, very much. Well, what I want to do now is I want to like rip out and I want to bring in one of our favorites. without any ado, and Blake, please stay with us because we want you on there, and we got to really rip on Dave. He's out in Texas. He kind of took off. He was supposed to be in the studio. We're going to have Patrick Gyra on here in just a little bit right after Dave. So we're going to be able to see what he's been up to. But let's go ahead and see if we can bring Dave in and rip on him. Dave, what are you doing out there?
What's up, buddy?
You're looking good.
I'm actually freezing out here. If I'm honest. Dude, they lied to me about Texas, man. I thought Texas was supposed to be warm, bro. It's cold out here or over here, wherever I'm at. It's I think we left home. It was 86 degrees. We got off the plane. It was like 26 degrees, and it's cold, bro. It is cold.
It's cold,
but we're having a great time, though, man.
Let me tell the people, though, the audience, a little bit about Dave and Jahanna, his wife, beautiful wife. Dave is a rapper who has not always. I think for the last 10 years you've been really good, well behaved. But prior to that, Dave got in a little bit of trouble. So we had a little bit of a concept, a cop in a convict type of thing going on, and Dave is going to be coming on our show quite regularly. But Dave, just give us a little bit of, just give us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do, because obviously you're going to be on here quite a bit.
Yeah, well, a little bit about me, man. I, not to get too much into it. I was a little wild, man. You know what I mean? I came from a crazy family, so I just adapted that. My granddaddy drives a Ford, my daddy drives a Ford, I drive a Ford. My granddaddy fights, my daddy fights, I fight. So kind of led into my life, got me in some trouble in my younger years, and relocated to Florida. Didn't get in as much trouble in Florida. I was changing, got in a little bit of trouble. Come from a background of drug addiction and everything that goes in. Married my beautiful wife. We got a little crazy through the years, but then got a radical change in our life. And now we use our past and everything we went through to do a podcast, do music, to try to see people change, because if we can do it, anybody can. So that's a little bit of us in a nutshell,
Yeah, Dave, I met you at an event, Mind Your Business, with John Huffman. We'll probably have him on here at some point. When I first met you, I knew you were going to be a guy I'd like to hang out with. We get a lot of laughs together.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and you got a little bit of country in you, and you're in Texas, and you told me last night, got me a little bit worried. You're like, man, I'm liking it. I'm liking it out here.
I'm telling you, man. I love Florida. Florida's been good to me. I say Florida, Jesus, and Jahanna. Without them, I'd be dead or in prison. And but we came out here to a marriage conference because, as you guys know, a lot of the listeners might not, our whole podcast is based around helping broken marriages or people that are going through this or people that are trying to change their life or whatever the case may be. So XO Marriage, Jimmy Evans, he's like the marriage goat, you know what I mean, to me. And people had asked me for years, like, who would you meet? People would be like, oh, this star or that star. And Jimmy Evans was always the guy I say. Well, I got that opportunity to meet him, talk to him in length, got to meet his son, going over to the XO Marriage headquarters today to tour it and see Brent Evans, who's the CEO. That's Jimmy's son. And so, I was telling you last night, every person I've met in Texas, and I love Florida, but I ain't really met too many mean people over here, man. Everybody's been pretty nice. And every person I met, I go, are you from here? And there's not one person I met that said, oh, I'm from Ohio, or I'm from Michigan, or I moved here from Philadelphia, or whatever. Everybody's from here. I was like, daggone, if everybody's still here, this must be a pretty good place to be. But no, of course I'm coming home. Maybe. I don't know.
I know Blake probably has a couple good questions, because you guys are very similar as far as solid people with a good Christian background, strong marriages. Was your marriage easy all the time, Dave Cravins?
My marriage ain't easy now, Bubba. What are you talking about? You know my wife. No, she's to put up with me, man. It'd take an amazing woman. But no, there's no perfect marriage, man. Soulmates aren't found; soulmates are made. You know what I'm saying? And it's an everyday thing. And 2 years, 3 years, we've dealt with problems. 1 year, so on. It's all growing. So but we've had some crazy times, you know what I mean? We say from felony stops to God back on top, you know what I mean? So we went through all of it. But if you would have told us 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we would be the marriage people, we would have laughed at you, you know what I mean? Because we've done all of it one time or another. That shows you God's got a sense of humor and he can use anybody, brother.
And you told me that, and I think Blake has said the same. Hopefully, I can say this on the air. You told me that maybe one of the key components, elements that got you in trouble a lot was the alcohol, right? Um, I don't know if you know this, but I happened to drive up to Tampa this week, and there was a crash. There was a crash on I-75 with a semi truck, a Budweiser truck.
That was
Stop now.
Tim's truck to Tampa. That was they were driving. That was their supply.
Tim was
For
pulling that behind
That-
his little white SUV.
Yeah, but behind the Tahoe. And
Yeah.
you guys, all you have to do is drive me up there, and I'm good with that because I'm gonna take it. But I just thought this was kind of an interesting story. But you told me that no good story ever started with the water, but I think your life has changed now, and I get so much energy from you guys.
Yeah, no good story ever starts with I was sitting at home eating a salad. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, and at one time I would have stopped and grabbed some of them cases after I made sure the guy was all right. You know what I mean? And then I would have took him down to the local market to Rochester and sold some. You know what I mean? He was a good dude. He took care of me. But yeah, no, I've got stories for days. And man, it's not. And I know Blake, personally, and admire what he's doing and how he's changed his life and the success he is. Man, he's an inspiration to me, as anybody else is. And you know, it's not that we're any better. It's just that, like Tim, me and you guys hang out, and we're with you and Alex and stuff. Some people can drink a beer and drink and do that. Don't mean they're going to hell. I don't mean I just did. I'm not that guy. One's too many, 12's not enough. If I start now, one beer leaves cocaine leaves you know what I mean, and so on and so forth. So I choose to live my life that way, but no judgments on anybody. You choose what you do. You know what I mean? And I'm sure Tim's got some of that Bud Light in that refrigerator back there, don't he?
I do. My beer in my refrigerator, especially even at the studio, I think was 2024 in May, so you can go look at it. But I do have one of your sponsors, because Dave and Jahanna do a great podcast, Relentless Hope podcast, amazing. Clean Cause, which is a drink, and I don't have one with me, but great product, organic.
Mm-hmm.
I do have some of them in there, but my beer is definitely outdated. So you'd think I'd have a couple beers here and there, but I think I talk a good game.
No, yeah, you're responsible, Tim. You're a responsible former law enforcement agent.
Well,
You know what I mean?
I've been known to have a good time too, so without a doubt.
No.
What?
And that's the beauty of where we've come from, right? And Dave, you can attest to this. Is I wouldn't be sitting here with the three of you if it wasn't for everything that I did in my past. My past
Right.
brought me to my present. So I don't regret anything that I did prior to this. Matter of fact, I had a really good time doing what I was doing. If I didn't have a good time doing what I was doing, it wouldn't have got me to the place where I needed to quit doing what I was doing. But because
Oh,
of
yeah.
all that, it comes full circle. And I'm a firm believer that God uses guys like Dave and I who have been a little bit too far off, and he cleans us up and he suits us up, and then he gives us the ability to help other people who are just like us and show them that, hey, if you did live a life like this prior to coming where we are, we can help you. And then that gives me the ability to sit with people like Tim, and go to a sports bar and have lunch, and Tim has a beer and I have a iced tea, and Dave has a energy drink, and it's fine. And that's the
Yeah.
beauty of it. And I'm not afraid to be with my friends who are having alcohol or drinking alcohol, because I personally know that I'm just not going to drink alcohol today. I'm not going to do that. It's better for
Well,
myself, better for my family, and
yep.
I mean the life that I've created and that God has given me and awarded me after I quit drinking is so much greater than anything I ever had prior to that. Why would I want to go back and look at the friendship and the network that we have?
Yeah, well, there's a difference between consuming alcohol and being an alcoholic. You know what I mean? Or flipping your car 3 times and getting locked up. There's two different things. You know what I mean? And so I thought it was all the same, and now it's like I got friends who drink and responsibly and do whatever. That's between them and what they choose. Sometimes we want to we put addiction into alcohol and drugs when addiction can be food, work. There's many addictions that people they always just lump it in. It's kind of like saying, you know, a guy with tattoos and this is a bad guy and this guy's a good guy when there's more white collar crime that hurts people than anything. You know what I mean? So there's just that's the way we put it in as people, man. So I just look at it like this, man. God rescued me from the fire, bro. And if I can go back and help anybody, that's what we try to do, and that's what our whole podcast is. Is
And you guys are helping. You guys are doing a lot of marriage counseling stuff and help. Like you
yeah,
guys are doing far
we're
beyond what your calling from God has really changed. I mean, I think you always be able to do and help those who are struggling in addictions or recovery or whatever. But going a step further and now taking it to couples and marriages. It's just another beautiful thing when you start to walk in God's purpose.
it's crazy.
The miracles that unfold, right? And you
Yeah,
start to find out like this is what I'm here for. This is what I was created for, and because the areas that I help don't just pertain to recovery. The ability
right.
that God has given me to go out on the world and do things for other people far outreaches just people in recovery, and so I'm able to walk in my purpose and be there for others. And when you start to understand that and feel that, man, it drives you more. I'm more driven today
Yeah.
than 12 years ago when I started.
Exactly. Well, and and I have to give a shout out to Tim, and I know this is the first live, and it's gonna, people are probably like, hey, what road are we going down? But without Tim and the 239 gang and opening up the doors, Relentless Hope, my wife John and I wouldn't be doing the things we're doing. It's really catapulted us. We already had a little following music wise, but him opening up the doors and letting us shoot our podcast and really helping us out and becoming a friend and a mentor and a confidant. I mean, we can laugh, we can talk. He gives me advice, whatever. My hats are off to Tim. He's really about seeing our community win. You know what I mean? In so many ways. And like you said, we wouldn't even be on here talking. You know what I mean? If we wouldn't have did some things in there. So
Well, thanks,
you
Dave,
know,
for being so kind. And you're right. We're trying to figure out
I'll
the
call you
direction we're
later
going.
and tell you what I really think.
I am just trying to work these buttons, getting everybody up and all that stuff. We're gonna have Pat Gier coming on after you, but it's really good to get information out in the community. Like I had the opportunity to know you and talk to you and Blake and Patrick and so many people in the community and some people that have really inspired me from a different standpoint. I mean, law enforcement. I was really surrounded by law enforcement friends, even though I'm a little bit different. I went out and kind of saw other people, except, not just law enforcement.
Right.
And having a different outlook and a different process of thinking about things has really helped me grow. And I think if there's anything I can do to help, and people know in the community, I try to help the veterans, I try to help the kids, folks that are maybe just need a little push or maybe a phone call in the day, even though we do rip on people pretty hard. I'm there to do it. So and Blake has been instrumental in trying me looking at him and how he's helping others in the community too.
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
man. I mean, the whole
Yeah.
team is kind of like that at 239. We're like a family, man. Everybody, from Huffman, Blake, Jared, everybody who I know that's involved, and it's crazy, Tim, like you said, being around us, we made a joke not too long ago that, you retire from law enforcement and got a bunch of ex drug addicts and that's who you hang out with now. But, pushing hope all of us are. But being around you and changing my life. I grew up my whole life saying the police were the enemies. You know what I mean? And and when you're around and you're older and your life changes and your thought patterns change, you think, you see everything from a different perspective. And I think that's what we're supposed to do in life, and that's how we see change is looking at other perspectives and realizing our ways aren't always right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, without a doubt. I know, Blake, you do some things in the community. You speak, you talk about, how to improve your life and things like that. And we had the opportunity to go see John Huffman speak the other day. So
Hats off to John Huffman doing his
yeah,
thing.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
instrumental.
But that all ties in, like, as you said, Dave, to the 239 crew, and I mean, I just recently joined in this 239 crew a couple months ago, but I have other people who have signed up and are using Tim's services and Jira social media services, and they are saying the exact same things that the inner circle of 239 is saying. Like, man, there's such a group of people here that all want each other to be successful, and not
Yep.
all of them are like Dave and myself.
No.
There's the rest of them are
Doctors or
normal people. Actually, they're
yeah.
doctors. They're
Normal people.
you know. So the energy that's inside of the 239 group is so productive, is so uplifting, and it's attractive to others to want to come around, and they want to be a part of this. They want to shoot their videos here. They want to do their social media with us. They want to be a part of this. And I really think the mission that Tim has put out and his vision for 239 is as you said, Dave, is to uplift the community. Whether it's the veterans, whether it's children, whether it's people who are struggling with addictions or recovery issues, or whether it's just regular people who want to promote their business. I think the language of the heart, that good people attract other good people, and there's such a good buzz and an energy, and it starts with the core person there, and that's Tim. He's created a place for all of us to come and help promote our companies and help, like, I didn't know Dave prior to this, and now we know each other. Now we're helping each other. We're growing each other. We're doing stuff behind closed doors to support each other. And the same goes for Huffman and Jira and Politic and the other people that are around Tim. And so we really want to build the 239 Live community to be a force of good and positive results right here in Collier County. And I think we're doing a good job, and we got a great start. And this live show is not only going to bring news, but politics and doctors and fitness and help. And this is going to be a springboard for a lot of people if they want to jump on board.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things right now, we're seeing a little bit of a different look from 239 Live. We're going to actually we're working on the studio, if I could put the camera out there. We're working on the studio, thanks to Blake Becker and Becker Construction.
Did awesome, Blake.
Yeah.
You guys have done awesome.
And amazing getting it ready. We're trying to make sure we do it right the first time. Podcast studio is up and running, so if you do have a podcast that you want to do, come see me. We've got great packages we put together for you. We get those things put out. We can make the set look exactly how you want it. But it's really about the community, bringing them in. And like, your story starts here. I love that logo. And your story starts here. And we're having fun with this. This is like a fun thing, an opportunity. We're going to cut it up. We're going to be serious sometimes, but for the majority of the time, we're gonna cut it up and have a good time with it. And
I'm on
we don't
good
take
behavior
life too
today.
serious.
I'm on good behavior this morning.
You're on good behavior, Dave. Why are you on good behavior?
It must be early
Because
in Texas.
I'm on good
Or the cold
behavior
weather.
because I have to go where Pastor Jimmy Evans is, buddy. I can't
Yeah, and he's
be
banging
crazy.
on the desk. The camera's going all crazy.
Can't be crazy.
Tell me a little bit about Pastor Evans. Come on, give me the real scoop of what is
And
going
Jimmy
on out
Evans-
there.
So Jimmy Evans he started off doing Marriage Today, but Exo Marriages now. They're based out of Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. Anybody who's ever watched any messages about marriage preaching, Jimmy Evans is like one of the main. It's the biggest Christian marriage focused ministry there is. And we got his book in 2016, Marriage on the Rock. I read that book. It changed my life, changed my marriage. We started following him. And then we lost everything in Hurricane Ian. The only book I had left, believe it or not, I'm an avid reader. I know you guys probably don't believe that out there by my looks, but I like to read because that's the only thing I learned before 8th grade, before I left. But that was the only book we had left after the hurricane. So he actually signed that book for me. And I, of course, you know me, Tim, I'm a soft as cotton. I started crying, and and told him how that book changed our life. So, they're the only building in the world that I know that has marriage on the side of it. And you'll see a picture of it later, because when I'll be there, I'll be taking a lot of pictures. And that's where they record their podcast, and he films his shows. So I'm anxious to see what it looks like over there.
Yeah, you told me that there's probably about 4,500 people that are attending this.
Well, there was
conference?
4,000 people at the conference.
Wow.
4,000 couples, 4,000 people. Some of the best speakers, man. It was fun, bro. We had a great time.
Break it down into just a very easy for Tim to understand paragraph, I guess, if you will, or explanation of how you have changed and you're able to keep your marriage successful. Because I seen you and John, you guys are with each other all the time.
Every day.
It's a great thing you can do that. I probably wouldn't be able to do it, but it's amazing.
Some people can't. Some people don't understand how our marriage works. It just works for us. We work together. We're together. Our email, everything's linked. I mean, and a lot of that started out as a safety net, because we both had done things we wasn't proud of. There had been infidelity in our marriage. We had problems working through stuff. So, really, we just built it as a safety net. And at first, we didn't know if it was going to work, because, Jahanna and me, Jahanna ain't no punk. You know what I mean? Jahanna's a strong woman. She makes a lot of men look silly. You know what I mean? And so, but it works for us. But really, it's protecting our marriage, man. You know what I mean? Like, we don't go to lunch without it. Jahanna don't go eat with a man for lunch for business. I don't go eat with a woman. There's just a lot of things that we do to protect our marriage. It goes God, our marriage, our family, our business, our ministry, what podcast after that. And that's what works for us, man. And, marriage works 100% of the time if you do it God's way. And so just being very protective of it, man, because there's times when we wasn't protective and things happened. You know what I'm saying? And now it's just natural. You know what I mean? It's just natural how our marriage does. But, again, just the way that we do it doesn't mean everybody has to do that. And if they don't, their marriage is bad. That's not what I'm saying. But for us, it works. But one thing I do notice, a lot of people don't put their marriage first. Like, a guy told me, I've been married 25 times or 25 years. Dave's been married 25 times. No, I'm just kidding. But 25 years. And his wife said, yeah, but I ain't seen him the last 15. You know what I mean? Like, because you're living in the same house, you could be living married single. You know what I mean? So, we don't understand how a person comes in and the guy goes fishing on Sunday and the wife does this on Sunday, but they haven't seen each other all week. I can't even imagine it. You know what I mean? And so we just put in the laws, man, the 4 laws, and, it's priority, pursuit, partnership, and purity. So I hear on this shirt, buddy, relentless hope approved. But that's the 4, always pushing. But no, that's the 4 laws of marriage, man. Priority, pursuit, partnership, and purity. If you live by those 4 laws, your marriage will thrive. Not be perfect. It's got to work. Just like a relationship. Me and you have to work on our relationship, on our long conversations and those dances we have, That's why
yeah. Well, no, that's good. Those are good words, because I think a lot of times, and you get married, and especially in the, you're married for a long time, and you just start getting in that routine, and you got to kind of bring it back and say to yourself, hey, I need to be doing those things. I personally need a lot of help in mine, but I think you get busy, and you have to have a date night, right? You have to have a time where you kind
those
of
are so important.
Totally put it out. And with that being said, we're gonna have Pat Giroux on here in a little bit. Now, he's one of our best friends. He might give us a little bit of insight on how that all works, but we got to rip on it. Yeah.
Willie, okay. I love Pat. I love Pat so much. Where's he at? He's sitting right over there, around there somewhere. I know he is.
Yeah, well, we're as soon as you're wound up, and we're gonna let you go here shortly. But I know you got a lot of things to do today. We're gonna bring Patrick on. He'll give us a little bit of guidance and wisdom and all that good stuff. So he's always good for it. Blake, thoughts?
Oh man, what you said was great. I agree with a lot of the things, and I know that marriage and relationships are they're difficult, but they're only as good as the work that's put in. It's
Right.
definitely not 50-50. I never like that term 50-50. It's
No.
100. If you're not doing 100 on each side, it's definitely not going to work. And you know what works for you guys necessarily doesn't necessarily work for my wife and I. We
Right.
have to know what our social situation is, what our in-home situation is, what our family situation is, and then we have to work around that. And then of course we
Yep.
have to take time for ourselves, and we have children, and so when you add all those components in, there's different elements that are at play that have to be
Yep.
addressed. And communication is of course the key to all of that.
Mm.
And of course, putting God first, putting the marriage and the family after that, and then the business and anything else after that. Because without that foundation of God, without that foundation of marriage, nothing works. It just crumbles.
That's right.
Everything crumbles. That. So
That's right.
anything I put above God and I put above my marriage is definitely not going to make it.
Facts.
No, it's extremely important to to make sure that you block the time, because I can tell you I'm guilty. You got your phone in your hand, you're talking on the phone to somebody, and you can say like it's okay because your wife's doing the same thing, but the reality is you go through a whole day and it's a blur, right? So that's
It's
something you got to work on. You got to really concentrate.
I think we're all guilty of that. I think we can
Yeah,
all be
man, I'll
guilty
tell you what. I noticed that Huffman's thing. I just got to say it. We were sitting at the table, and there was only one person at our table that wasn't on her phone, and she's sitting right over there, and that was my wife. She's the only person at our table that put her phone in her purse and never got it out.
Because
And we're
she's smart,
sitting there-
Dave. She's smart.
Well, no, it's just how she is. And she also taught me, I've seen her push a shopping cart 32 miles back to a hub in the ghetto. I'm like, we can leave it here. We're going to get shot putting this shopping cart back. I'm not worried about it. But it's something that how she lives her life every day. It's not the thing. And you know her, Tim. She's the first person to pick up a broom and start sweeping or doing whatever.
Yeah.
But going back to the phone thing, we're all guilty of it, me included. And when John and I, something we practice, and this is a tip, and people can take it. They know I get business or whatever, but when we go out to eat, and wasn't always like this, we don't bring phones in there if it's date night, because they'll be all right. You know what I mean? As long as we know the kids are okay. Because it's funny, we had to go somewhere and we had no phones. We were talking about, we were on a stagecoach thing yesterday at the stockyard. Like we went, there's like where they do a cattle drive. And I go, can you imagine driving hundreds of miles in the West with your mate back in the days, the conversations you would have? Because there's nothing else to do, but you're riding in there. I mean, you might have hemorrhoids, you're all done, I'm sure, but
Hemorrhoids. What's a hemorrhoid? That's a hemorrhoid. That's a country. That's a country way of
out here
saying.
in Texas.
Hey, Texas is a hemorrhoid.
Hey, everything's bigger in Texas than I ride.
I'm getting
I
a
got that
hemorrhoid.
miss right there.
It's like a Hemi. A big-
See, you're letting me stay on here. I'll get out of good behavior,
No,
guys.
that's good. Hey, Dave, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Listen, we need you almost every day. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we're going to do this usually from 8 to 10. If you want to be a guest, make sure you hit us up in the comments below. Message me, myself, Blake, Jira, David. Let us all know. We want to get you on. Again, great having you, buddy. I appreciate you. I can't wait to see you. And you're going to be traveling back tomorrow, I believe, right?
Yep. We'll be back in Florida tomorrow. We cut out. And
I'm ready for that invite on the show, baby. Let's go.
I was just getting ready to say, stay tuned. Blake's going to be on our podcast. I'm
Good
looking so
podcast.
forward to that one. Jira, we're getting ready. We'll be releasing those. We had a good episode. So we're excited, man. We're excited for 2025 and what's to come. We love y'all. I got to go do some Texas stuff. Y'all wouldn't understand.
We love it. Thanks. Appreciate it, brother. All right.
Them arms, bud. Look at them arms.
Get him out. Get him out. So, hey, listen, without further ado, I know he's been waiting patiently. Had a little business to do this morning. Had a little business to do. So we want to obviously invite him in and bring him on. Jira, are you there, buddy? Can you hear me?
I'm here. Good morning,
You're
gentlemen.
going to have to, put your finger in front of the camera. Perfect production. You're in the studio. So you're looking good, though.
Thank you. I heard you gentlemen needed some marriage and relationship advice, so you got just the person on to give you that advice.
Hey,
Yes, please tell us
I
how
gotta
is
ask you. I'm a little bit nervous about
advice,
this.
professional?
You're looking good though, Patrick. You're looking good. I'm very impressed. I know the studio is going to be getting filled up here. We got someone coming in about 15 minutes, so probably we got you on for a little bit longer. We appreciate you. Give us a little advice. Tell us how it works, buddy.
Would you like marriage or relationship advice?
Both.
Both.
I can tell you what not to do in a marriage, on how to destroy a marriage, and I can teach you I can teach you about 46 things about relationships.
Just 46? Is that one day? 46?
46.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
I mean, you know, we joke around a little bit about it. Listen, I've been married 3 times. I'm not going to lie to you, right? So if you add them all up, I'm probably up there where Blake's at. But you know, it's one of those things where you learn from others, but don't listen always to others because they don't always have great advice unless you know you get somebody that can really honestly tell you what you're doing wrong, or honestly, because hey, if you go out with your buddies and be like, hey, whatever, go with me, we're gonna be good. Again, I'm definitely not going to be able to give any marriage counseling, but I try.
You seem like you have a pretty good marriage, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, I got a perfect wife that lets me, you know, do the things I need to do. I think it's important. She's real good. Alex is great. And she knows, like, I like to not be at the house. I like to have hobbies. I like to do stuff like this. I like to talk to my friends. And she's very supportive. I just ran for a political office, and I didn't win, but I'll tell you, the people I met in that campaign have never, it's never going to be the same because these people are so wonderful, and I'm just so honored. Pat, you, as one of them, you were my social media gurus.
I'm the reason you lost.
Yeah, you're kind of the reason why I lost. Look, I mean, he's my social media guy, and he's the blurriest one in here, so that'll tell you, Blake, exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, I think
appearance
he's on.
is everything. First appearance is everything. That's right.
First appearance is everything. So first appearance, but in all reality, though, you know what do you think that you could give others to do or not to do, Patrick, if you're willing to share?
In terms of what, marriage?
Or relationships. We'll take you either way.
I'll tell you a big one for me. Don't stay in a marriage because of children.
Okay.
If I had to do that all over again, because at some point, if you realize, you know, that person's not right for you, and you just try to stay for the kids, you know, I've seen it not work out for other people, and didn't work out in my case. Now, am I a perfect person? Was I a perfect husband? Absolutely not. I am a deeply flawed human being. I'm not saying, you know, I don't own responsibility in the breakup of my marriage, but after a certain time, you realize maybe this person's not the right one for you. You're two totally different people. You know, it's a shame you realize it after you marry that person. But in hindsight, you know, I maybe would have not stayed as long as I did, and I think my ex-wife probably agreed. She'd probably do the same.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. I mean, a lot of people do obviously stay in because they want to have that picture perfect marriage with the kids, and but I think if the kids are suffering and they feel it, then that is definitely, you know, not a good scenario to try to just, you know, make it rougher. Blake, you've been married once or twice? Been married once?
Just once.
Okay, give me
not
your success story.
Females, not males.
Give me your success story, Blake. Patrick forgets we're live too. You know, it's like it's good.
Our success is communication and understanding. Like, I understand what she needs and what she wants, and we have clear-cut ideals of what we are trying to do as a team, how we want to raise our daughter, what our morals look like, what our political views look like. I'm blessed to have a wife that has the same political views as myself. It it personally ties into our belief system in God and what we're trying to do as a family unit and how we're going to raise our children. So that to me is important. And my wife is understanding. I too am a people person. I have to be out. I have to be networking. I have to be at social events. My wife enjoys a few of them. She's not in the same arena that I'm in when it comes to that. She will join me when I ask her, and she'll support me in anything I do. But she also likes her time at home. So I've had to learn how to do both and support when she wants me to be at home. And we've come up with an agreement, that works for us. Dave touched on what works for them, and we've had to iron out what works for us, and it was never easy. In the first couple of years of marriage, we had to figure out what we were really doing. And then as business changed, my wife is a huge supporter of the business, and she knows that her role, she's accepted the role that she's going to be home with my daughter. She's going to get her from school. She's going to do the homework. She's going to do the food, the shopping, take care of the house. And I'm going to go out and work 16, 18 hours a day sometimes, and being okay with both of those positions. And it doesn't always sit well with me that I have to be gone all the time, because I miss my wife, I miss my daughter, I miss my home. But at the same time, I got to do what I got to do to provide for everybody. So, it's been communication and expectations, clear-cut expectations of what we are trying to do together as a team. And it's never her, never me. It's always us.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Blake, if your wife does all the shopping, why is it half the time I talk to you, you're always at Publix or Jimmy P's?
Well, because I get some of the specialty items, sir.
Oh, okay. So you're the specialty guy.
Yeah, I'm the specialty guy.
Speaking about shopping, I want to bring this story up. And Pat, you're pretty good about this stuff. You said we don't want to beat this to death, but I was just kind of curious. As to
my take on this.
Yeah, you're taking. How do you get a mattress out of Target? And I agree with. It might not have a full size.
Jira could easily put that in his wallet. Let me just tell you.
Well, I mean, she got everything covered. She got Target for everything from a bottle of Dr. Pepper to a mattress. So she got her shopping in. She got a variety of stuff, and this is over a course of a couple months, huh?
Yeah, this is a kind of a long-term event. I believe there was several items taken, 18 visits. So yeah, they probably had her picked out early on.
Yeah, the mattress, that's pretty impressive to get a mattress out of there without getting, well, I guess in the end you get caught. So, I mean, how embarrassing though is that, obviously innocent till proven guilty, right? But that's just a very, and what struck me about that article too, she had her kid or kids present while she was doing this. So not a good role model for her kids, and obviously looks like she's going to be facing some kind of punishment,
Yeah, but everybody makes mistakes, and everybody deserves.
You're right, Blake. But multiple times. Now you could argue maybe what's the term when someone steals a lot?
Kleptomaniac.
Maybe she's a kleptomaniac. Maybe she can get help, and I mean that sincerely. Everyone has. One thing I really learned when the more you talk to people and about stuff you're going through, everyone has something, some kind of, whether it's an addiction or some kind of sin. So none of us are perfect except for Tim Jarrett, but. Hopefully, she can get some help and move on.
Another story we touched on it a little bit.
Clean Claws.
Yeah, Clean Claws. Another story we touched on a little bit is this story, Patrick.
Yeah, we weren't here for this, Patrick, but we let everybody know that this was Tim's trailer behind his truck for his weekend in Tampa, and all that beer was unfortunately lost in a tragic accident.
It was gone. This truck rolled over, and I know you back in the day you were a big Busch beer fan. It spilt along the highway, and people were actually asking and begging to come clean it up. So they didn't have any problems with that. So yeah.
Well, number one, Tim, I was any kind of drug alcohol fan back in the day. It didn't matter the label. So that's number one. And number two, I think that we know Tim only drinks expired beer. So that beer was fresh off the truck. So probably not
Couldn't
worth
have been
it.
Tim's. No, it couldn't have been.
Yeah, I drink expired beer because I don't drink a lot of beer, but when I do have it, it's there, you know.
I
And
don't drink a lot of beer, but when I do, I like
and
it.
you
It's
obviously
expired beer.
you obviously went in the refrigerator and you found the clean cause. So yeah, so that's good.
Yeah, there was about 24 clean causes. There's about two left. So shout
I
out
know
to Dave.
we got to.
for the cause.
Where's Dave? He's got to be on there and make things happen for us. Yeah, so it's kind of good, Dave. Keep them coming, buddy. That's good stuff. And,
Keep them
we're
coming.
there.
I'll drink them.
Yeah. Now this is kind of an interesting one. I don't know if you guys saw this video. I think I'm going to try to play the video, but did anybody see this? The whale eats and spits out the kayaker, and the guy actually is there to talk about it afterwards. This one blows my mind. I wonder if this is going to happen. This could happen in the Gulf of Mexico. Let's go ahead and take a little
Gulf of America.
Oh, geez, I got to say Gulf of America now.
Come on,
That's
Tim.
right. Yeah, I'm losing.
Tighten
it.
up, bro.
Let's see
Tighten
if we can check that out. That's crazy. And I think he's going to ride through it. And if you take a look, if he looks like he could handle it.
Person swallowed by a whale.
What's that?
The title: Person swallowed by a whale.
Yeah, person
That's
swallowed
a
by a
great-
whale.
Sounds like a good time.
Probably smells horrible.
Nice poncho.
Let me ask you guys this: do you guys like swimming in the Gulf of America? Do you guys like swimming in the ocean? What's your
Love
swimming in
it.
preference?
Nope.
Why?
Don't trust
Patrick?
what's in it. I don't trust what's in it.
What do you mean you don't trust what's in it?
Could be anything in there. It could be a freaking whale coming up and swallowing you. You don't know what's swimming out there. I don't do heights and I don't do oceans.
So you won't go like water skiing in the ocean. How about key wading? Do you like wade in it, or would you do that, or what?
I mean, I enjoy like going on wave runners and stuff, but actually like swimming deep end in the ocean, not my thing.
I don't know, man. I think you're a little soft.
I can't be the only person that doesn't
No,
like
there's
going in the
there's
deep end in the
people
ocean.
that don't like swimming in the ocean that are under that same pretense. I personally am not one of those guys. I love jumping in the ocean, whether I'm deep sea fishing or snorkeling or even diving. I've been on multiple diving trips. I love the
You
beauty
jump
of
in the ocean when you're deep sea fishing?
Yeah, no, cool off. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do when you get there.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what else. So listen, guys, we're going to wrap this one up, but I just wanted to tell everybody a little bit about what we have going. Blake, you do your podcast here at the studio. Patrick, you have a podcast here at the studio. Patrick, just give us the rundown, quick version of your podcast, then we'll have Blake's, and then I'll talk a little bit about mine.
Politic and Gyra Larry Love. We just finished episode 36 with Matt Goodwin and did a mini episode with Eric Green, kind of like episode 37. Excited about got big guest list, trying to get to everyone. Show's doing really well. Pleasure to be doing it in Studio 239. The studio is absolutely blown up. It's hard to get studio time these days because so many people are using the studio, but that's a great thing. We got a couple of exciting projects we got going with Francesca and a couple other people. So, and I know Blake, I don't know if he wants to make the announcements, got a special podcast on Friday too. Built by Becker, blowing up on YouTube too. So, like you guys said earlier, this really is, and I was actually talking to Francesca last night. She said, it looks like you guys are like one big family at that studio, and that's what it feels like. We just have a lot of fun. We all want to help each other. I had such a great time doing Relentless Hope. I can't wait for that podcast to go out. I mean, we literally talked for an hour and said we could have went on another hour. So thank you again to Dave and Jahanna for having me on, and love being part of the Studio 239 family.
Well, you know that we love having you, and it's great that you're around. very instrumental in local politics, and we didn't really get a chance to introduce you, so we're going to definitely do that at some point. You had to come in a little bit later. You're busied up this morning. But Pat, you've been instrumental in the Republican Party, or have you changed over since we last talked? I mean, I'm kind of curious about that too.
As far as what for politically?
Did you change politically? Did you go to the left? Did you go to the left? Are you still over on the right with us?
I'm still a Trumpster, baby. I was a Trumpster early on in about 2015, so.
You got it. So, well, it's important. What about Blake? You got your podcast, Blake. It's blowing up. YouTube has got it. Now you do a couple different things on your podcast. You don't just talk about construction.
I do. Well, the idea behind Built by Becker is the community that helped build Becker Custom Builders is just equally as important as my company. So I like to bring those people that are local business owners to the podcast to let them share what they do, whether they're doctors or nutritionists or air conditioning people or attorneys. We want everyone to have a chance to speak up about what they do and how they're a part of this great community. And then also my long form YouTube channel, which is Built by Becker, which is putting out infotainment videos. Basically, they're informational, but they're also entertaining about the world of construction, design, and renovation. And those are really starting to take off. We've been happy with our success over the last 6 weeks, and we can't wait to see what more it has to come. So thank you guys for having me, and keep your eye out for Built by Becker and Becker Custom Builders as we continue to grow and help our community here in Naples, Florida.
Hey, we love it. We love it. Patrick, you have something to say on the out?
I just love the way Blake's an infotainment. Blake, the highest rated show on your guest appearances. Just curious who it was.
The highest rated podcast?
Yeah.
Would be the After Hours with Politicking with Jaira and Larry Love. Shout out to Larry Love.
Absolutely.
We got to do that again. Where's Big Larry at? Get him in.
That was fun.
We might have one coming up here in March.
All right, guys. We're out, but we're going to be back again on Wednesday and Friday. So get the show going. First run, man. I think we had a good time. It was great with all you guys. We got to get Jared a little bit more clear. I think he's got to wipe down his camera or something. We're out.
All right. 239 Live.